I'm David Rose, and here's a look at some of our top cases this week on Washington's Most Wanted, starting with the hunt for Justin Ortega. He's wanted in Yakima, but he could be anywhere in our state. He is a violent convicted felon, considered armed and dangerous. And now he is accused of committing horrific crimes against children.
We've got currently 4 counts of rape of a child first degree, 2 counts of child molestation, and 1 count of assault of a child in the 3rd degree. So the Yakima Police Department and the Pacific Northwest Violent Offenders Task Force were seeking the public's assistance in catching this guy so that he can answer for his charges. I'm sure that there's people that are acquainted with him that know a little bit about where he's at. Perhaps if they start figuring out what he's wanted for and hear some of the charges, they may be less willing to offer him a support or assistance.
Detectives think Ortega is still in our state. He has ties to both the Spokane and Seattle areas, as well as the lower Yakima Valley and other parts of central Washington. He's got a nationwide warrant for his arrest, so if he did leave the state, he will be brought back to Yakima County once he's caught. His long criminal history includes convictions for domestic violence.
This is what I would consider a chronic abuser, a chronic batterer. And, you know, there's this documentation going back numbers of years, you know, since the time pretty much he left high school, where he's been in and out of trouble for some of these violent crimes against people, domestic assaults, and, you know, some other related offenses. But it's continued, and now it's starting to impact the lives of children. So it's not just adult victims anymore. He's progressed to where he can harm some of our most vulnerable victims.
Despicable. Justin Joe Ortega is 36 years old, 5 feet 7 inches tall. He weighs 180 pounds. Detectives say he has tattoos on his right calf, right arm, and forearm, and a scar on his left forearm. The victims he's accused of raping are young girls. You know where to find him, to get him caught, and to get justice for those children. Submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers by using the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. You can download it for free, or you can call 1-800-222-TIPS. You never have to give your name, and you will get a cash reward of up to $1,000 if your tip helps Yakima Police track Justin Ortega down. There is absolutely no excuse for what you're about to see in this next case. A store clerk in West Seattle violently assaulted for cash and cigarettes, and detectives are hoping you can help identify these 3 men responsible. So watch as the first suspect jumps the counter and drops his gun as he leads the trio into the Cheap Smokes and Beer store on 35th Avenue Southwest last Saturday night. A second suspect comes around the counter and throws the clerk to the floor, knocking over a display rack. Then that same suspect starts loading up his backpack with cigarettes, and there you can see his nose and eyes. He then pulls out the entire cash register till and hands it to the third suspect waiting by the door. Meanwhile, the first suspect, who has been holding the clerk down, starts punching him in the side of the head and then pushes him to the ground when he tries to escape. Well, that victim chases them out of the store, but as they leave with that stuffed purple backpack and the cash drawer, the first suspect picks up the gun off the floor, and then all 3 run outside. They were last seen heading northbound.
We're looking at this specific robbery as maybe a tie-in to one that happened in a Federal Way. The MO or the method they operated kind of looks the same. We can't be really clear, but this definitely is an assault and an armed robbery. These guys obviously are nervous, and somebody's going to get hurt.
You do get a pretty good look at the second suspect's face. He's the one in the gray hoodie with the backpack, so focus on his nose and his eyes to see if you recognize him. The first suspect with the black semi-automatic pistol in his left hand was wearing all black with a red scarf. The third suspect was wearing black and white with a white face covering, and he had on black Nike shoes with white laces. Detectives say all 3 suspects are black. They're hoping somebody knows them or spotted them that night.
So somebody may have seen a getaway car. Maybe they ran a block, saw somebody jump in, take off. Anything at this point is relevant to the investigation.
And if you have any information to help Seattle police identify these violent armed robbers before they hit again, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. You will remain anonymous. Just submit a tip through the P3 Tips app or go to p3tips.com. You can also call 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, the hunt is on tonight for this convicted sex offender. Dindo Pangilinan, a.k.a. John, broke into a house near Western Washington University that was full of sleeping college students. He went upstairs and he climbed into a young woman's bed. But she thought it was her boyfriend until she woke up to him kissing her forehead and rubbing her back. Well, she bolted from the room, barricaded herself in another room with the rest of the women in the house, and called police, who arrested Dindo still in her bed. Well, that was in 2008, and he was convicted of first-degree burglary with sexual motivation, something he is still very angry about. He spent more than 7 years in prison, but now he's wanted for failure to register as a sex offender in Whatcom County. John is not supposed to have alcohol as part of his supervision, but just last week, he was arrested again near Arlington for suspicion of DUI. He bailed out the next day, and he's required by law to check in with his DOC officer within 24 hours. Instead, he took off and hasn't been seen since. When he is caught, officers say he's heading back to prison for at least a year, but very possibly for longer, depending on what the Community Custody Board decides. Dindo Pangilinan is 35 years old, 5'9", and he weighs 181 pounds. Now, he was driving a 1999 silver Chevy Cavalier like this one with Texas license plates, DYW 9328. If you spot that car or you know where he's hiding, use the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. Submit the information to Crime Stoppers or call 1-800-222-TIPS. There's a cash reward of up to $1,000 if you can help officers find John. Tonight, the hunt is on for this accused home burglar, well known to law enforcement in Kitsap and Pierce counties as a prolific thief. Deputies say when he's not breaking into cars, he's trying to break into homes. But you can bring his year-long crime spree to an end. He's been hitting up and down the State Route 16 corridor. Take a look at this surveillance video from outside a home in South Kitsap. Detectives say that is Christopher Harper Smith Jr. on the back porch, trying to force his way into the house. He's looking all sporty in his sweats and Philadelphia Phillies hat as he sort of tiptoes over to the window while holding whatever's in his pockets to keep from making any noise. This is a nightmare for any homeowner. Some creep outside your window looking inside to see what you have to steal. Truly despicable jackwagon lowlife scumbag behavior. Here's the best part. Watch as he realizes he's caught on camera. Yep, we got you, sucker. He makes a fairly hasty retreat, but he wasn't done yet.
He went to another residence in close proximity, several streets away. That residence he was able to get into. And inside that residence, he stole firearms and personal documents belonging to the homeowner.
Deputies say he got 2 handguns and a rifle. Smith is also wanted in Pierce County for 2 counts of vehicle prowling, where officers say he has been breaking into cars in Gig Harbor, Furcrest, and University Place. Christopher Harper Smith Jr. is 38 years old, 6'3", 215 pounds. He's got blue eyes and brown hair. Call 911 if you spot him creeping around your neighborhood or cars. If you know where he's staying or what he's driving or where deputies can find him, submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers and collect a cash reward of up to $1,000. Just call 1-800-222-TIPS or use the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. The Pierce County Sheriff's Department's proactive property crime unit needs you to take a good look at this dark blue Nissan. Deputies think it's a Murano or a Rogue. It is the getaway car for a band of burglars who terrified a pair of teens on October 14th. A brother and sister asleep inside their home near Frederickson when one of the suspects tried kicking down their front door.
2 teenagers that were there saw them, confronted them, they ran away. Good thing they didn't chase them. We don't want people doing that, and they called 911. So we do have good photos of the suspect vehicle. Luckily, there were no injuries involved in this. When you have 2 teenagers at home, that's pretty scary when somebody tries to kick your door. So we know that these people are out during the day, they're pretty desperate, they're feeling a drug problem. Even though property crimes and burglaries are going down, the people that are out there still doing them are still needing to steal stuff to feed their habit. But
deputies say there were 3 suspects, and the witnesses told them they were all black males. The burglar who tried breaking into the home was around 6 feet tall, in his 20s. He had braids or dreadlocks and a ponytail. The other two suspects stayed inside the Nissan. If you know anything at all that can help Pierce County deputies find that car or identify the suspects, Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Submit a tip at p3tips.com or call 1-800-222-TIPS. King County Sheriff's detectives in their fire investigation unit need your help to catch an arsonist who burned a school building. Now, this happened last week on Thursday morning about 2:30 a.m. at St. Bernadette Catholic Parish School in Burien. These photos of the structure were taken later that morning. The white doors are on the outside of the building. The wood doors are inside.
The person that set the fire did quite a bit of damage. We're talking upwards of $40,000 worth of damage to that structure. On top of it, all of the kids that were in that building can't be in that building right now because of the heavy damage. So they've had to move their classes elsewhere to another building. And the fire investigator told me they're just looking for information on who's responsible for setting this fire. We don't know if it's one suspect or multiple suspects. We don't know why or who or anything like that. So that's what they're trying to determine. And we're just hoping that somebody noticed somebody maybe running from the scene or didn't seem to be in place, or they just noticed something wasn't right, and we're hoping that that person will call in with the tip and provide it to investigators so they can follow up on it.
Well, detectives are hoping that you might have seen something, or especially have a name of whoever started this fire. If you do, please call 1-800-55-ARSON. The Arson Alarm Foundation and Northwest Insurance Council are offering a cash reward of up to $10,000 for any information that helps lead to an arrest in this case. So that's a look at some of the cases that police need your help to solve this weekend. I hope you'll join us for Washington's Most Wanted, airing Friday nights at 11:30 on Q13 Fox, Saturday nights at 10 on Joe TV, and 10:30 on Fox stations in Spokane, Yakima, and the Tri-Cities. Let's make sure all of these criminals have nowhere left to hide.